Hi everyone, welcome to day 10. I just wanted to give a brief check-in about my physical use of the cards and my experience with them. Okay, I do have to say I never really think too much about cardstock because if I like the images and it's a good price point and it's got a good guidebook and I like other things about it, I am usually okay. I don't really care about cardstock. However, this is it's really nice to work with. It's a really nice, they feel really sturdy, but not and really kind of lush, but not snooty. I don't know if that makes sense, but the decks that I have, I want to use and I want to get to know them and I want to touch them and I want to take them places. And I think with this deck it really holds up to that, and it's just fine to shuffle, and it's it's good, it's fun to work with. So I just wanted to talk about that. Now on to today's pull. I'm gonna continue pulling on class consciousness. So I was thinking, okay, Luigi Mangione, say his name properly, has been caught. And so I'm wondering now, this whole class consciousness, now that it's a lot of people are awakening to it and want change and are showing empathy towards one another, what are the next steps? Where are we going from here? So I kind of want to do a collective read on that. I've already been holding the deck and thinking about that today, so I'm just going to pull the top card. So the 10 of Keys, which is burnout. So there's a lot of we're finding out more about the motives of Mangione and just his family history and the fact that he has been away from his family recently, and he's not really been doing well, I think. And he's a young guy, so it's when you feel you're apart from your family or your clan or your tribe, that can be a huge shock to the system. And it can make things that you're already going through, your sensitivities or whatever it is that you're going through, it can make it about 1,000 times worse. Anyway, so I feel that's kind of what we're looking at here, is just his burnout on maybe not being listened to, but also his family is part of the whole healthcare thing. So I think that's why we got this card today. And also burnout in terms of just the rest of us, we're finally waking up to the fact that we're understanding the difference between making money, which I know I talked about in another video, but making money, and then what's just excessive, what is just continually taking advantage of other people and just not giving a shit about anyone but yourself. And we're getting tired of that. So I think that's where the burnout is from. So the 10 of Keys are the 10 of Wands, and it's that burden, right? It's that sense of burden. And if you can see here, you have the woman putting her head down on the table, and you have kind of these x-ray kind of images of the keys, so it's that sense of burden is always around you when we've kept our end of the bargain, when most people pay their insurance, and if you buy something, most of us want to pay it off, we don't want to just we keep our end of the bargain, our end of the contract. And it seems a lot of these companies have no guardrails when it comes to what they're able to do. So the Maiden of Keys is the next one, which is the Seeker. So the Maiden is the Knight. The Maiden is the Knight of Wands. So she's called the Seeker. I would say that in terms of action, like it seems like to us, like, or maybe not even to us, but to some people, his action, like Mangione's action of killing a CEO to get a point across, I guess. But, you know, the Knight is still under like a hierarchy, right? Like in this deck, they're like energies that are internal or actual people in your life. So, but I think internally, you know, as the Knight, you still don't have the maturity of the Queen or the King yet, of the Maga or the Crone. And, you know, especially for someone so young, this guy who did it, you know, he's still understanding the world around him and why things happen. And he might be very bright. He might have a lot of experiences in the world that a lot of us don't have. So his maturity might be advanced than more so some of the boys his age, but also like age just kind of, you can't add maturity to someone who's only 26 years old versus someone who's 80. Like it's just no competition, right? So it's like there's still inherent in only being 26, there's still some sort of life experience that you just don't have the benefit of. So I think with this Knight kind of immature, maybe leaning more into impetuous action, I don't know. I guess for him, it might have been a little too premature, but we'll see how this thing plays out. And I like how they put Seeker here. I think that's a good word for this level of maturation internally and in life. Because on some level, I feel like a lot of us are still looking for the answer, and whatever that is, you know, like trying to understand where this avarice comes from, trying to understand what we're supposed to do next. I mean, maybe, you know, at least with this card, it's like we're still looking for answers and to keep the momentum going by understanding that this is a tiny, tiny, tiny step and not to take on more than we can handle, especially since the first card was the 10 of Keys, 10 of Wands. Okay, the last card is the Mother of Knives. So we have the Queen of Swords, and she is our protector. Oh, what a pretty card. Picture of her child. Maybe it's her inner child. Maybe it's an ancestor. Maybe it's a child in her family. It could be anyone, right? That can represent like our core child energy as well. Mother of Knives, the protector. So I think that as far as like next steps are concerned, when we're looking at this, a lot of us are ready for not the kind of protection that DJT was telling us, like in one of his answers, he was like telling women, oh, you know, I'll be your protector, or I'll protect you. And it was just so skeevy and gross. This protection is more like we all want to be safe. Like not all of us are going to be millionaires or have these great jobs or, you know, do all the things in life that we feel like we desire or deserve or whatever it is. But the entire way, we want to have this sense of safety. We want to have this sense of like, if we've lived in a country for a long time or for generations, or we've given to our neighbors or community or family, we want to know that we're gonna, like, someone's looking out for us. And especially when it comes to healthcare, or when it comes to really anything, right? Like our food, our water supply, any of that stuff, we want to know that the people that we put into office, the people that we work for, the people that we spend 40 plus hours with every single week for decades, that our lives are not going to waste, that the people running these companies or the country have some sort of like internal obligation to us. So, you know, we can be firm in the fact that if something does go awry in our lives, that like they have our backs to a certain extent. And also knowing that we're contributing to the world in a positive way. And I think that we're looking for that real sense of protection. And I would also say like nurturing, you know, like that sense of like, we're in this together. And people who, like, especially at the extremes, people who only want things for themselves, the whole divide and conquer thing is still like, it's such an old strategy in the playbook of power, but it's quite clearly used to this day, and it's used very effectively, because when you do things like that, they choose very emotional issues where logic and fact are just not considered, or they're ignored. And that's what like consumer psychology is all about. A lot of times, I don't want to say like all the time, that's what marketing is about, advertising. I mean, you can also say that it's just to get the word out about a really good product. I think both things can be true at the same time. Anyways, so yeah, so I would say that it's a combination of us just like taking a break. There's been a lot that's been going on in the last few months here in the country and worldwide. So it's to take a break, but to keep your eyes open, to keep seeking, to not quit. Taking a break, yes, but not to quit this good momentum that we're having. And the sense of protector, like internalizing that for yourself, like trusting yourself and trusting your own judgment. And knowing that if you don't want to work for a company that you were just so lukewarm about and don't like what you're doing with your life, to maybe change it. Or maybe thinking that like, if you start a company, do I really need 400% profit on every sale? No, maybe I'll take 100 and take a capped salary and then see what happens with that. Anyways, it's not perfect, but I think the important thing here is just like rest, keep going, rest, keep going. The oracle I'm using today is the Little Witch's Oracle deck. I just got it. It's so cute. These are the backs. This is the cutie little guidebook. I already shuffled it, but let me just, we talked about a lot here, so let's just do kind of the bird. And it's got like very simple imagery like this, and I don't know, after kind of like a deep, like very layered deck like this, it's nice to look at something like that. So just intuitively, I think that birds, no matter like their stripes, their color of feathers, what age they are, their essence is to fly, it's to have action, it's to keep going, it's to keep eating. And I think that that's kind of the idea here, is that momentum is important. Do what you can do. Like, don't try to be If you're a bird, be a bird. Like, don't try to be a leopard. Meaning, if you're a bird, like if you were a writer and that's the best way that you can contribute to what's happening now, then continue writing. Like, don't feel like you have to like all of a sudden become an activist or whatever if that's like not your wheelhouse. Let the activists be activists. If you're a writer, write. Like, be who you are, but keep that momentum, but also keep a good home base, take care of yourself. And I would also say, even though this is a lone bird, like, be around people who understand what you're doing, who might be doing the same thing. And do like have guardrails in place, because I feel like for some of us who are a little more sensitive to the world around us, like, it's easy, maybe I can just speak for myself, like, even on TikTok, like, I'm getting a little too excited, I guess is the word, that like people are saying and sharing their medical care stories, and people are like, well, I worked there and this is what happened. I used to work there. I don't see one person working for UHC that's not one of these CEOs. I haven't seen one person coming out and saying, well, UHC is a really good company. They really, they really knocked it out of the park for me when me and my family were going through it. There's not one person that's come out to say that. And maybe it, like, right now is not the time, like, clearly only one opinion is kind of right for right now, but maybe later there will be workers, or I don't know, people who say, well, they did approve $100,000 of my medical bill. I don't know, but anyways, yeah, so hope y'all are all doing well. I'm sorry these are long, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.